Hello and welcome to another episode of Story Bakes with Katie Sue. We're back to books today with a YA revenge romantic fantasy set in Gilded Age New York. If you're looking for a Monte Cristo revenge story with a swoony romance and twists that make a second read just as intriguing as the first, look no further. I had the pleasure and honor of receiving an advance reader copy, or ARC, of Gilded in Vengeance, which doesn't come out until November 4th, 2025, so there's still time to pre-order it or request it at your library. Both are a huge help to authors. Taking inspiration from this gorgeous cover, I'm making black cocoa tarts filled with champagne pastry cream, then topped with blackberries, strawberries, whipped cream, and it's all gilded with some gold flakes. Links to all of the recipes I've used or modified are in the description box below. Now let's get to the baking. We begin our journey of betrayal and baking with black cocoa tart shells. I've made this dough before for the greener black House of the Dragon tarts and a vegan version for the Bella's prom dress tarts, so this time I'll list the ingredients in the description box below and skip straight to the shaping. I'm using 3mm sticks to roll out the dough and lining my 80mm or 3-inch tart rings with it on the sides and bottoms, freezing the dough if it gets too soft and before baking. I first heard about Gilded in Vengeance because the author, Lyssa Mia Smith, co-hosts my very favorite writing craft podcast, Turning to Story. You may remember last summer when I made a slightly unhinged opera-style 7-layer dip cake based on the logo. Her first book, Revel, is a magical Moulin Rouge-inspired story set during Prohibition. I really enjoyed it and was looking forward to her second book, another YA fantasy, Gilded in Vengeance, when I saw that she and fellow YA author Jill too were forming a joint street team for their upcoming books. Jill's book, An Ocean Apart, will have its own bake coming soon. For these tarts, I'm coating the insides of the baked shells with some melted chocolate to help them stay not soggy, and then they're all set for the champagne pastry cream. This is a double recipe of pastry cream from Sprinkle Bake's Champagne Cream Puffs, and I'm using this sparkling wine from Trader Joe's, which I felt really fit the bill. See, Gilded in Vengeance is a Monte Cristo style revenge story, which I'm always a sucker for. The main character, Emmy, lives in poverty, but has rare transformation magic, and is betrayed by her lifelong best friend when their chance comes to join the magical elite. After spending years falsely imprisoned, Emmy is freed and infiltrates the wealthy magical elite of New York in disguise in order to exact her revenge. And I felt that if Emmy's ethos of those less valued by society aren't worth less was a sparkling wine, it would be La Burgundy Crémant de Bourgogne. This is what the Trader Joe's website says about it. Because Burgundy's sparkling wines are not as well known as those from Champagne, they tend to cost considerably less. But don't be deceived by the price. Crémant de Bourgogne is every bit as good, or better, than wines carrying the champagne moniker, just less pricey. I mean, come on. Perfect. Personally, I'm not much of a champagne drinker, unlike our main found family group in Gilded, who drink it at fancy parties and to celebrate victories, but cooked into the pastry cream, it had almost honey-like notes that were really delicious. While this chills, let's make some coral tuiles. Does that rhyme? Not really. These beautiful lacy tuiles are really easy to make, but took me a bit of trial and error. This is a conglomeration of recipes I found online. To 155 grams of water, I'm adding 75 grams of oil, 8 grams of flour, and 12 grams of black cocoa, then mixing it with an immersion blender. This goes into an oiled nonstick pan, and they cook up into these beautiful lacy tuiles. They can spatter a bit, so a screen is handy. Some recipes I found said to oil the pan, others said not to, but I found that they stuck so badly that I destroyed them getting them out of the pan until a layer of oil had built up. So for this recipe, starting out with an oiled pan will save you some trouble. Now, the male main character of Gilded, Jack, used to be society's favorite son, but then was also imprisoned, and frees Emmy in return for her help in bringing down their enemies. As part of the elite society of the charmed, Jack was born with a magical ability. He wields black fire. I mean, Shadow Daddies look out, am I right? I love how the tuiles bring in some of the black lines from the cover and also represent Jack and his fiery power. As for the other beautiful, bright, dramatic colors of the cover, we turn to fresh berries and whipped cream. I wasn't sure exactly what the fruit design would be, so I sliced the strawberries in a few different ways so that I could have options. I wanted the red of the strawberries to really pop like Emmy's gown, and the blackberries to serve as a kind of backdrop of purpley black. I'm tossing them all in some melted apricot jam to give the fruit some shine. I had leftover cream from making the champagne pastry cream, and it was more than enough for the tarts. I'm just whipping it up in a chilled bowl until frothy, then adding a few tablespoons of sugar. I'm switching over to a hand whisk here because I feel like I always over whip my cream, and it's not as smooth looking as it could be. When it's at this stage, the cream doesn't need a lot more whipping, and it's much harder to over whip by hand. I'm pretty happy with it, though I could probably still whip it less. Now, we're ready to assemble. Alright, let's put it all together. When chilled, pastry cream turns into this weird mass, so you need to stir it to loosen and smooth it back out. If I made these again, I would probably adjust the recipe so that it came out a little bit thicker, but that's just a personal preference, and it still worked great here. I'm scooping and smoothing the pastry cream into the prepared tart shells, trying to get them filled to the top. This actually made a lot more pastry cream than I needed, and a 1.5 or even single batch would probably work fine. I'm piping some whipped cream in the center to help build height, then I'm arranging the berries with the book nearby for reference. I made these during my week of having the traveling arc, which was really cool. Lyssa sent out a physical arc along with a bunch of things to annotate and take pictures with, which was then sent to the next street team member who signed up for it, and so on. I got it back in July, and it's still making the rounds, and we'll get back to Lyssa later this year. This is the first street team that I've ever done, and it's been a lot of fun. As you can see, I tried several different designs for the fruit, some I liked more than others, then I'm piping on a bit more cream to hold the Tuiles. I'd never used gold leaf or anything, and got a little bit of gold flakes just for this, because Gilded. I used some tweezers to place these little pieces of gold flake on the fruit and whipped cream, which added the necessary Gilded age opulence. Did I only gild the front of the tarts? Of course, gold doesn't grow on trees, and unlike Emmy, I don't have transformation magic and can't make more out of leftover bits of dough or whatever. I'm really happy with these. The little bit of the yellow pastry cream peeks through to bring more of the colors from the cover, and the dramatic colors and contrast take center stage. Here we go. Black cocoa tart shells with champagne pastry cream, fresh berries, whipped cream, black coral Tuiles, and gold flakes. All inspired by the cover for Gilded in Vengeance. These are so good and feel appropriately indulgent. The honey-like notes in the champagne pastry cream go so well with the whipped cream, strawberries, and blackberries, and the black cocoa tart shells don't overpower it. The Tuiles need to be eaten with the rest of the tart, not by themselves, as they're fairly bitter because there's no sugar in them, but they're wonderfully crisp. Hit the like button if you want to see more bookish bakes, subscribe and hit the notification bell if you're so inclined, pre-order Gilded in Vengeance and add it to Goodreads, Storygraph, and Fable, and let me know in the comments what books, shows, or movies I should turn into bakes next. Thanks for watching!